got information from the towing organizations in the association that said they had a tow pond, so I asked him about that. He said, well, there were some people that couldn't afford to do a tow pond, so we did it. So myself and one of the other reps were doing our math, and they make more money on the tow pond than they would do on the dispatching. So naturally, they want to spread out. They says they have no interest in towing. Then I asked him, I said, well, listen, I said, I have a newspaper article here. You said in your testimony that you don't own a tow truck. You've never owned a tow truck. You don't intend to own a tow truck. I says, I have one here from your solicitor that actually said you own a tow truck. It's in writing. It's in Seattle, Washington. I said, so can you explain that to me? Oh, yeah. Seattle, Washington, in Washington, the towers tried to keep us out with legislation. So what they did is they said, to get a tow contract, you have to own a tow truck. So we went out and bought a truck and put some lights on it and stuff, but it was never used. So I said to him, then you're telling me that you took a truck, made a tow truck, never used it, to fraudulently get the contract, to say that you were a tow company. And that's when I kind of cut him off. I says, I don't really need to hear you anymore. I have legislation that we're pending on our side of the aisle, but it isn't our side of the aisle because this is bipartisan. Jay Costa, who's our Senate Minority Leader, Democrat, and Frank Darmody is our Democratic leader in the House. Both of them are on board with us. I'm the chairman of the Allegheny County delegation. I was chief of police for the city of Pittsburgh, and I know this is bad. I've told the troopers, I've told them to decide. They know it's bad. They can't talk, obviously, because police departments are paramilitary organizations. When the governor has a charge or the commissioner has a charge, you follow your orders and you do what you're supposed to do. So it's up to us to stop this. Without your help, we can't do it, okay? Keep furnishing us the information. And Kurt, I want to thank you very much. As soon as I notified Kurt, D&D Salvage called me, Dave Norris, Bobby McGann, both from my area with their concerns. And once I got a hold of Kurt, I've had nothing but a flow of information. It's been back and forth, and I am extremely honored and proud to be here with you. And I can tell you this, I don't quit easy. Some people, maybe I take it as a compliment. They say I'm too dumb to quit sometimes. So, but thank you very much, all right? God bless you.
I'd like to have State Representative Jim Marshall step up for a few moments.
Thanks, Kurt. I'm from Beaver County. I represent the 14th District. I'm also a volunteer firefighter for Station 14, so that's one of my favorite numbers. And I can tell you, I've been on scene. I know what it's like. I know when we're trying to protect the towers and the other first responders at a scene from vehicles that are coming on the scene, they're not paying attention. It's difficult. It can be challenging. It can be nerve-wracking. And we don't want to be on scene any longer than we have to. But auto return is going to make us be on scene for too long. And we want to stop that. We want to make sure that we can get the correct vehicles to the scene, get in and out, and to avoid accidents. So I'm here today because this rally is the essence of government. This is your government at work. Your voice is being heard by myself and my colleagues, and we want to make sure your voice resonates in the Hall of Harrisburg. Thank you very much.
I'd like to welcome to the stand our senator in this area, Scott Hutchison.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm obviously on a fact-finding mission, as it were. We in the Senate have not delved into this issue as your champions, really. And I'm going to tell you, these folks are champions. Dick Stevenson, Dom Costa, Jim Marshall. They have taken the bull by the horns and are really moving forward. I've had some brief discussions with them in the past. Sort of after the fact, the hearing that they held, I have gotten copies of the testimony and have been perusing that. But it's safe to say this is certainly an important issue. It's a public safety issue. The folks that are protecting lives and property, you're part of that continuum, and it's so important that we do this right. Many times government starts out with an idea that sounds good, but when it starts implementing it, it just does not work, and that's sort of where I'm evolving on this issue. It looks like something that, let's try this. This will be great. But once you start implementing it, it just goes awry and doesn't work. And that's why, when we hear feedback, it's important for us to listen to that and to move forward. So I look forward to working with you folks. You by standing together, you make a great case and can help us to implement the corrections that are definitely necessary at this point. So thank you for this chance to chat with you today, and I look forward to working with you shoulder to shoulder as we go forward. Good to see you all.
If the state reps don't mind, we're going to, in a few moments, we'll take some pictures. We'd like to have a picture of any state representative or Scott would like to be in front of a group of responders. I would like to take advantage to do that. I'd like to call BJ. You out there? Yeah. I want to call up one of our first responders in the area and just hear a little bit from his side just for a few moments.
Thank you, Kirk. I guess where we come from as first responders, it's really important to have our local companies we're used to working with. I mean, to us, the dispatching side is important because of knowing that we're going to get our local responders, our local towing companies coming there to help us. As you can see earlier with that demonstration we did, we need to work hand in hand with them to try to save lives. There's many accidents that we go to that involve large rigs, large vehicles, that we rely on these heavy-duty towers to come out and help us extricate the victims from the cars that may be trapped. And currently, we're not getting that response. We're getting the state police using auto return that's calling companies from too far away, so the ETAs or the time of arrival is going to be too long. People are going to lose their lives while we're waiting for that tow truck to arrive. Also, from a first responder standpoint, we're not used to working with the companies that they're calling in. We don't know what their training levels are, whether their equipments are capable of handling the incidents that we have. So we're reluctant to utilize these other companies. We need to use the local companies that we have here within our area to do this type of work. And so therefore what we've been reverted back to doing is utilizing our own rescue equipment. This scenario that we did with the school bus and the car, we would have to utilize airbags underneath the bus and lift it. It would have taken at least, at a bare minimum, 30 minutes longer to extricate victims out of that car if we didn't have access to the heavy-duty wreckers. So this cause is very important for the public safety to stop auto return and get some sort of a central dispatch system working together with the local towing companies that everybody can agree upon. That's where our stand is. We're supporting the local companies from the emergency services side of the platform here, and we wish them the best of luck in their pursuit. Thank you.
Juan Goebel, Ohio Towing Association.
I'd like to thank Kurt for having us come over and speak today here, and it's quite a show he's got put on here, a lot of equipment here. I've been talking to Kurt here for probably about the last 8-9 months. The only way this is going to get stopped is with all you guys, towers, firefighters, EMS, everybody getting out, talking to your councilmen, your senators, your trustees. Half of them probably don't know what's going on. Without speaking to them, it's not going to get stopped. It's going to go down to the communication thing. As the vice president, I was vice president for 8 years with the Ohio Towing and Recovery Association. I've been president now for a year. That's our biggest, weakest link is communication. I can tell you, we've got a lot of good information off of Kurt with the battle that you guys got going on here. Rumor is it's coming to Ohio, and he's been able to help us. We're looking into some stuff. We're here as an association from Ohio to support you guys in whichever way we can. So we're just a phone call away, and Kurt knows that. So I'd like to thank you for being invited.
one guy I had the pleasure to run into on the interstate, but didn't get to spend much time around, thank goodness, is Dick Bonanno is a gentleman over there in the white T-shirt, and Clintonville Fire Department, Hamilton Fire Department pulled that gentleman from a wrecked tractor trailer that we recovered, and we responded on scene to render assistance. He's an example of what it is to have first responders that'll save his life. Dick lost part of his body, but his mind and soul's there, and you know what? He's been an inspiration to a lot of people in that area. And again, on his behalf, I want to thank the first responders for saving his life that day. The last person I'd like to call to the stand is Jeff Walter. He's the Executive Director of Automotive Alliance Automotive Service Performance, AASP, and I want you to take a few moments to listen, and please stop by his booth. It's important that we stay unified, and their organization is key to that. And within 24 hours of AASP being made aware of our situation, Jeff come out with a positive statement to all AASP members, saying that they're joining the fight and going to join us against this. That was a quick turnaround, and they're good people. Jeff?
Well, first of all, I had a speech, but Kirk took all my thunder. As he said, I'm the Executive Director of the Alliance of Automotive Service Providers. We do represent towing, collision, and mechanical shops across the whole state. Kirk's phone call, whenever it came to me, was not a surprise. We had heard a little bit of something that was going on in Erie in February. But I had some members in Erie, and I couldn't get a lot of response. And at first I got this wishy-washy, we're not sure it's a bad thing. And then all of a sudden, even though it's not affecting us, I come from Harrisburg, and my home county is Cumberland County. All of a sudden, towers in that county who have state police coverage started saying, hey, we're hearing about this. This is not a good thing. So when Kirk called, it was not hard to do a 24-hour turnaround to get involved. But just a little bit about me. Until I took this job a year ago, I was a shop owner and I had wrecking. I was not into this type of wrecking that you guys all do, this towing, but we did municipal towing. And I've always dealt with 911 dispatch, and I just thought that that's the way it was across the state, even if the state police needed a record. I never had an issue. Not only that, so now you have a local dispatch in my mind. But I also served 15 years on the EMS, and I was EMS chief, and I'll never forget the call. Rolled over tractor trailer, and we were down. We had used airbags like the gentleman before me talked. Airbags were sinking in the mud. This man was dying, literally dying in front of me. I knew it. He had no blood pressure. I lost his radial pulses. He was still conscious. He went from being alert to disoriented right in front of me. It's an hour into the call. Thank goodness for a local dispatch and a local heavy-duty wrecker to get there quickly. Because we were down to one of two ideas, lifting their cab off of him, or they were going to do an on-the-scene amputation of his leg. That was the only thing holding him in, the keeping him from getting to his life-saving operation that he needed for a ruptured spleen. So this is personal to me. I think it needs to be quick. It needs to be done quickly. And you know, when we were over here discussing, and you hear about 43 minutes response time, I can just imagine myself on the scene. We deal with a golden hour. In my mind, that means I have to have you off the scene in 10 minutes to get you to the hospital. I had it all figured out in my head. And we were into an hour on this extrication. So, you know, I was nervous. I mean, the helicopter had actually got there and turned the rotor blades off because they were waiting. So that's where we're at. Kurt's right. As an association, this legislative type stuff is what we do. This is our number one function. So we're all the time monitoring this kind of stuff. We have a lobbyist there in Harrisburg. He's been working behind the scenes. He's been talking to Steve Barrar quite a lot. So we're really versed in this situation. If you remember, thank you very much. If you're not, I'd encourage you to come by and pick up an application and join up. Because I was at a political function last week, and when I got pulled aside, you know, Jeff, it's all about the numbers. And it is. It's all about the numbers. We don't have the big money auto return does, but we've got grassroots, and this is representative of it here. So stop by the booth, say hello. Thanks for your time.
All right, guys. Hey, it's photo time. So let's do this. I got a aerial set up there. I would like to put our state representatives and any other political people like to be involved in front of the white line. I'd like to bring all of us back here behind the white line facing that way. Let's put them in front. So if you guys want to jump in, that'd be great. And if our politicians would like to step up front, that would be the best.